Hey everybody, my name is Leigh and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my December TBR. So I have a lot of books that I need to get through in December because I did not actually read that many of my November TBR, not because of the wheel or anything like that, and I did a lot of rolls last month. It's truly just because there was a lot of trauma and a lot of stuff going on in the beginning of November that prevented me from reading basically until like the middle of the month. So I did not really read in November that much. I'm filming this a couple days early, so I do have some time to still definitely finish some books, but I'm just gonna go over them even though I've barely read any so far. So here's the stack of books that I wrote for last month, not including I think 2. So the first one, Brownies and Broomsticks, I actually have read, and this was for a cozy mystery. And then They Were Here Before Us was for a seasonal read, which was a horror for me. And I'm almost done with this one. It's super short, so I'm almost done with this one. I'll definitely finish it. And the next up is Court by Penelope Douglas, which I was using for a book with one word in the title. I've not gotten to this one. I may get to this one. Then I have Secrets and Truths, and this was for a book by a BIPOC author. I'm definitely going to get to this one. I have not started it yet, but I plan on getting to this one. Then Legendborn was not originally on my TBR. Layla was, and that was for a backlist book, and so I swapped out Layla for Legendborn, and this was published in 2020, so definitely counted, and I've already read this one. Then I have Ninth House, which was for a reread, and I did not get to that one, but I plan on rereading this, I think actually at the end of December instead now, since I haven't gotten to it. And then I had a thriller, which I went for Blood Sugar, which I don't think I'm going to get to either, so I put this one on my 23 books to read in 2023 list instead, so I'll probably be reading that one in 2023. And then the last one that I had was The Wall Winnipeg and Me, which was for a book checked out from the library, and that one I still do plan on reading, hopefully. So I've read Brownies and Broomsticks and Legendborn. I'm almost done with They Were Here Before Us, and I plan on reading Secrets and Truths and The Wall of Winnipeg and Me for sure, and possibly Corrupt. So I definitely am not reading Ninth House and Blood Sugar. So to be honest, I didn't do that great, but it just, November was a weird month. 2022 has been a weird year for me, and each month there's like something that happens that's terrible, and it kind of just throws me off my reading game. So I'm gonna definitely forgive myself on this one. I want to talk about our book club picks since I have to obviously read those. Those are like the only obligations that I have in December at all. I don't plan on really doing any reading vlogs or anything unless maybe like a weekly reading vlog or a weekend reading vlog, something like that, but I'm not gonna like do like a planned TBR type reading vlog. So our November book club pick was Balance by Lucia Franco, and our last show for this is December 4th. So I'm going to try and read it all in those 4 days of December. It is quite a long book, so I don't know if I'm going to start it maybe like a day or two early, but I'm going to try and read as much of these as possible and then put that one off until like the 1st of December. That one I'm really excited to read. It is an age gap romance between a coach and a gymnastics player, and this one's really controversial. I know a lot of people love this one, love the writing, but I know that for some of this book, at least, the main character or the heroine is underage, which I know a lot of people are not going to like, but I'm excited to see how I stand on it. And I didn't even know that when I put it on the poll. There's 4 options, and this is the one that the book club voted for. So this is what we're going to be reading. And then in December, our book club pick is Make a Scene, and I'm not sure what this one is about at all. Nicole picked this one. It might be a black romance, or I think both characters are at least POC. And our live show for this would normally be the 1st of January, just because we do the first Sunday of the month, but it might be pushed back to the 8th just because New Year's Day, plus I might be working that day, I don't know yet, so it might be pushed back to the 8th or later on in January. That's obviously going to be our last book club pick of the year and our last live show for a while, because we're going to actually be taking a hiatus in 2023 for probably at least like half the year, because Nicole is having a baby, so that's kind of priority, and so she's going to be having a baby. And so we're going to be taking a little bit of a break. And while I'm really sad that the book club is going to be taking a hiatus, I'm also excited because I have some other things in the works and some other ideas and things that I'm working on. And so to not really be participating in any book clubs will leave me open for possibly some new book clubs, possibly some other stuff, and some things that you'll be seeing soon. Enough of my rambling. We're going to do spins again. I think I'm going to do 5 this time unless I start to get addicted like how I was last time. Oh, and a lot of y'all were telling me that on the spinner wheel you can have it where it removes it. A lot of people were also telling me in the comments that you can put the option where it removes the option. A lot of people were also telling me that you could also have the option to remove that prompt from the wheel after you land on it, and I knew that. I just didn't really want to mess with the wheel since it was my first time. I did know that though. A lot of people were also laughing at the fact that I kept spinning even though I said I only get 1 reroll, but I was re-spinning because they were duplicate prompts, so that was not counting. Just I meant reroll if I don't like a prompt, but I was re-rolling because I didn't want to do that option, but I'm doing that this time because y'all were clowning me for that and I didn't like that. Okay, so here is the first spin. So the first prompt is to finish a book I've already started, which is really convenient because that's most of the books that I plan on reading in December. So the book that I chose for this prompt is one that I've been talking about finishing a lot, and that is It by Stephen King, this big old book. I started this in June. I started this in June for a 3-month read along. We're supposed to read like basically like a third of it every month, and I ended up stopping in July. I'm almost halfway done. I'm on part 3, so I read this much and I still have this much left to go. I have like 800-ish pages left, and this is one that I do just really want to finish because I've already invested so much into it, and saying that I read this really big book, this would be the biggest book that I've ever read, would be amazing. But I also don't want to like bring it into 2023. Like if I don't finish it this year, like I'm not finishing it. So that is the first book up, and hopefully this will give me some motivation to actually read it. Okay, so moving on to spin number 2. We have a fantasy. So a lot of these books I am going to be pulling from my end of year book tag if you haven't seen that. But another one that I had on there that I've only read a little bit of that I do still really want to read is Jade City. This is one that was on my 22 books to read in 2022. And while I don't plan on like fully completing that challenge because it's such an arbitrary challenge, I'm still going to make one in 2023, but this is one that I do really want to read because I really drifted away from fantasy last year and then even more this year. So I would like to try and get back into it a little bit. I did read Legendborn, so that was something, but I do really like fantasy. I do like magic, so I want to get back into it a little bit. So this one would be nice. And then also I have not so much adult fantasy or new adult fantasy like this one, but I do have a lot of young adult fantasy still on my shelves, and I'm just like intimidated by them because I don't really read fantasy anymore, but I am going to try. So that's why I'm glad that I landed on this prompt. So moving on to the next spin. We have randomized TBR. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try and figure it out. So I got the prompt to randomize your TBR, and I've been trying to figure out a way to randomize my TBR, and it's like super late right now and I just cannot figure out a way, so I'm just going to use my pass on this one. So moving on to the actual third prompt. So I got a book off my own TBR. Really convenient. These prompts are really being nice to me today, except randomized TBR. I tried to do it and all the books that were coming up were, and I tried to do it and it was really hard to do, and then when I finally figured out a method, it was literally classic books, and I was like, I don't know who y'all think I am, but I just own those for show. So off my own TBR, I'm gonna go with Magnolia Parks, which is another book that I talked about in my end of year tag video. This is one that I did start a little bit, but I was tabbing it and there's no audio, so it was a little rough, but everybody loves this one. I think this could be in my top 10 of the year, so I really want to read this because I don't have a ton of books that I've absolutely adored this year, so it'd be nice to have another one to throw on my favorites list. Okay, so moving on to the fourth spin. I was hoping that I would get this one. I got Holiday Romance. I obviously just do this one in here just for December because that's when the holidays are, but I really wanted to get a holiday romance to celebrate in the spirit. Okay, so for this one, I decided to go with The Mistletoe Motive by Leigh. I heard about this one when it came out, I believe in July of this year, which is kind of like a weird time, but I've heard such good things about Leigh and that she has really good representation in this. It says it's a slow burn enemies to lover holiday romance. It's about like these two characters who work in the same bookshop, and they're kind of like competitors with each other, and they're enemies obviously, and it's enemies to lovers, and it's holiday romance, and I think the bookshop setting is going to be so cozy. And my library does have the audiobook. It says it's going to be a 5-week wait. I'm hoping that it'll come in maybe like a week early. It'd be like a 4-week wait. But if not, then I'll just buy the audiobook. It's on Kobo for $12.99. So but I'm hoping that it does come in. So moving on to the fifth spin now. A book recommended to me. I have to think about this one. I didn't know really what to put for this. I wanted a book that I think someone's directly recommended to me, but I've been reading those a lot lately, so I decided to just post on my Instagram story asking people to recommend a book for me, and I might do the first one or I might just choose from the list. We'll see. And Editing Deja will tell you which book ended up being the winner. So it's Editing Deja here to tell y'all what was recommended to me, and I actually had two people recommend me actual books, and that was Sarah from Sarah Shelves and Haley Hughes. And Haley ended up actually recommending me two books, one of which I've already read, The Weight of Blood, which is phenomenal. Y'all should definitely pick it up. And she also recommended me Uno Out of Order, which isn't really my speed. It seems more literary fiction, but I'm still going to add it to my TBR in general, just because I take almost every single recommendation that Haley gives me, because 9 out of 10 times they're going to work out. And then the other one that was recommended to me was Jackal by Sarah Shelves, and this was a recent thriller release that's been a lot of people's like book club picks and everything. It's been getting a lot of hype, and I was going to read this one next year and put it on my 23 books to read in 2023, but I guess I'm going to be reading it earlier now. And then I think I'm just going to do a last 6 rule since the TBR has been so nice to me. Mistletoe Motive is also a novella. It's only 5 hours. These 3 books were the 3 that I really wanted to read. So if I didn't get them on here, I was going to add them on anyways. So I'm going to do a 6th rule. Or spit. I always say roll. So I accidentally hit the keyboard, so it actually ended up spinning 3 times, but the first roll was a thriller. And so for that one, I'm going to go with another one in the Mindfuck series. I'm on the 3rd one. Hopefully I'll actually be able to finish both of these. And this is like a thriller romance, so I'm going to count it, but this is another one that was in my end of year tag video. So I'm doing pretty well. So these 4 books are the ones that I'm going to be reading, plus the Mistletoe Motive and whatever somebody recommends to me. So I have it for a book that you are in the middle of. Then I have Jade City for a fantasy, Magnolia Parks for a book off my own physical TBR, the last 2 books in the Mindfuck series for a thriller, and then I have the Mistletoe Motive for a holiday romance and a book that someone's recommending to me. I actually did pretty good. Like, these were the books that I was going to talk about if I didn't get them on my TBR, but I ended up getting them on my TBR, so that is really amazing. So if you made it to the end of this video, leave the little present emoji down below for a holiday romance, but also because someone's recommending me a book and I don't know what it's going to be, so it's kind of like a little present and I'm waiting to figure out what it's going to be. Y'all already know, but I don't. But as I said, that's all that I have for this video today, and I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all on my next one. Bye, everybody.